Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are joined with our friend and Reiki master and so much more. Tima Dajani, thank you for being here with us once again. We appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Jill. Thanks. It's a pleasure. Pleasure to see you again.
Same here, hon. Thank you so much. Welcome back. For those that may not know you, Tima, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. My name is Tima. I'm a Reiki master teacher. Been doing this for a long time, around 25 years. Love it. Enjoy it. Reiki can help so many people in so many ways, as we've talked about in various podcasts. It's amazing. It's an energy of love, an energy of compassion. And I highly recommend that everybody try Reiki at least once in your lifetime. It's a beautiful thing.
Individual Reiki, we talked about it on human beings, on animals. And also you can use Reiki to kind of cleanse space, clear space. Could you talk about that a little bit to start?
Correct. Yeah. So a lot of people actually ask me to come in and bless their space. They feel that the energy is off or things aren't going well. Kind of, I guess you would equate it to what a priest would do in an exorcism. Not as extreme, obviously. You're not going in with the holy water and the crucifix, but, just to get rid of any residual energy that may be there that's not beneficial. I can actually use Reiki infused water. You can use salt. You use the symbols. You use the Reiki energy. You spread it around the house. There's lots of interesting ways to do it. And I mean, I experienced energy of houses in a really profound way when I was house hunting, because, I would walk into certain houses and I would kind of look at my estate agent and just at the same time would be like, oh no, like, let's get out of here.
You could just sense something.
Yeah, there was something there. The energy that would hit us would just be so extreme that we're like, this is just not going to work. And I would walk straight out. There was this other house I went to and I loved it. It was all great. I had this niggling feeling. Everything was beautiful. It was so gorgeous. I thought I ticked all my boxes. I went downstairs and just suddenly I was hot all over, horrible feeling. And I just looked at the agent. I said, no, there's something really off with this, like something in this area. I said, did somebody die here? And she said, no, not that I know of. I said, well, I would ask because I think something happened here. So she went and she asked the listing agents and they said, yeah, we didn't want to say, but like the previous owner's teenage daughter killed herself in that room. And I was like, I don't think to tell people that because, that's a big deal. It's a lot of energy. That's not so great. So, I mean, if I was stuck with that energy, I would definitely work.
But I was going to say, but can you clear that out? Or maybe the person who was listing the house should have hired someone like you to clear it.
They should have. Because anybody who's intuitive or like feels the energy, they're going to immediately sense that. Because as soon as I walked down, I was like, such an unhappy spot. I can't imagine sitting here or watching TV in this room. I said, this is horrible. I said, are you sure nothing happened? The rest of the house was fine.
Wow.
And she said, not that I know of. And she was so mortified. She called me back. She was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And they didn't tell me and they weren't honest. Mm-hmm. And I said, it's fine. I said, at least I felt it. The house is not for me. They need to bring somebody in to clean out the space. And eventually I found the house for me, and I'm, the right energy, the right space, which is great. That's because you live in your house day in, day out.
Well, if it's the house you're in right now, it's beautiful. I love that whole area.
It is. It's the same.
And
house.
How long have you been there for?
6 years.
So when you came to that property, looked around, you just felt all good vibes and energy?
Yeah. The energy was just so welcoming. I just felt like happiness and good energy in every corner. There was honestly nothing that I could detect. And I was like, yes, this is it. This is what I need, because it's hard if you're energetically open the way I am to live in a space where you feel the energy is attacking you or where it's, sucking you down. It's just not, it's not good. So it's really beneficial for people to have their spaces cleared, their workspaces, their home spaces, just to give it that extra layer of protection and blessing. It's I think that story just clearly illustrates how energy can be really bad. And if it had been somebody other than me who maybe wasn't open to it, they would never have realized maybe. And then like it would have started to affect them in other ways later on, you know?
So how does
yeah.
the process work? Let's use that house, for example. Say the the person who lived there hired you to clear out the space. They know their daughter committed suicide, not a happy feeling, and they want the next person coming into the house to have all happy feelings and good energy. They would call you. And do you do it virtually? Do you have to come in person? Could you give us a little insight to how it works?
I mean, for house cleaning, I definitely prefer that you go in person because you have to be there. You have to sense the energy. And also you have to kind of figure out if there's any, you know, what kind of energy is residual and lingering, right? So you don't know, like, is there some part of, you know, the person who departed that's left there because, you know, they left in a traumatic way. There's so many things you have to consider. So I would have to go in, really send out lots of energy, protect myself first, obviously, because I don't want any of it coming onto me. And then you send out lots of Reiki, lots of prayers. You do certain like rituals. I always recommend, even for like the newbie, if you want to cleanse your space, you're feeling the energy is bad, just sprinkle salt in the corners of your house. Salt is an amazing negativity absorber. You know how they have those like little salt candles, the Himalayan salt? Yeah, those are amazing. Or just like sea salt, just sprinkle it in the corners of your house. It's amazing. It will absorb a lot of energy, a lot of negative energy.
All right.
So there's different ways to do it. And you would bless the house in a certain way with your Reiki prayers and stuff. And I mean, it would get better. It would definitely get better. You know, and I think that you can help the people who are living in a space like that if they're unfortunately stuck with it.
Now, what do you feel when you're blessing the house? Are you absorbing all this negative, bad energy in a sense, or what does it feel like on the other end?
No, it's more like you're giving the house the good energy, and you can kind of, I know it sounds funny, it's almost like you can feel the walls absorbing it because you know, it kind of like oozes in the good energy, and it kind of replaces the bad. So, and it may not be intentional bad energy. It may just literally be residual energy from like a trauma or something bad that happened in that space. So it may not necessarily be anything that's, you know, it's not like in the movies where it's like a poltergeist.
But you know what? You hear about, I've heard on the news stories about, like, for example, people were buying a house or a building or something, and all of a sudden they didn't have a good feeling about it. They do all the research and realize it used to be an old gravesite, or, I mean, these stories exist where you hear that and like people were able to sense something was wrong, or just like you, something happened here. No. And then they find out years later that, wow, this was built on top of someone, or someone who passed here, someone was murdered here. It's like, compelling.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you know, I think this should be my mantra. Trust your gut feeling. When you walk into somewhere, you get a bad feeling. Don't walk away from that bad feeling. Walk away from the house or from the space that, you know, you're looking at, because if the bad feeling is there from the go-to, there's something there. Like, it's just not sitting right with you. So I always tell people, trust your gut feeling. Don't, you know, because people don't listen to themselves. This is the problem. They walk in, you know, they're like, I'm probably just imagining it, or, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm just being silly, or, you know, whatever. No, you're not. If you're feeling something, there's probably something there. Have it looked into, and, you know, make sure that the space that you're, you know, it's like people say, oh, you know, from the time we moved into this house, we have not stopped fighting, or, you know, we started losing money, or.
Hold on. Yeah. I saw an article the other day. I was at work. I think it was a house that Britney Spears owned. Right. You got to Google it. It's Britney Spears, or, okay. The girl who died in it was, Brittany Murphy. And she died in that house. Then her husband died in that house. But before that, I think Britney Spears owned it, and said the same. She never wanted to go there. She didn't feel right going there. I'm telling you, it was something about the house. I wonder, the house has been knocked down, by the way, they said, and rebuilt and everything. But but for example, I mean, that's got to be real. They all sensed something, and they didn't want to go to the house. And there was a beautiful, like probably 11,000 square foot home, but something was wrong in that house. Now, if someone does come in and tear down the space and rebuild, does that clear the energy? Like,
it will clear the energy unless there's something in the earth underneath it. That's a whole different ball game. So, you know, sometimes it needs more than one Reiki practitioner. Like, you know, you need a group to go in and kind of figure out what's going on. I've done that with friends of mine who are also Reiki practitioners. We'll go into a space if it's really intense. So yeah, I mean, it's real. It's a real thing.
Now,
So
what about, oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
What about businesses? Same concept? I mean, like say you have a nail
concept.
salon and then it becomes a pizzeria, then it becomes but like, are the people's energy that work there stuck in there, or does it have to go back to something that negative happened? Could it be a happy place?
No,
It's still not.
It could be a very happy place, but I think that when you have the bad energy, it's lingering energy from a trauma, like one way or another, like something bad happened in that space. So it could be a death, it could have been abuse, it could have been anything.
Wow.
Like you can't really be sure, but you just know that something happened in that space. So you just try to clear out the energy as best you can and bless the space and try to turn it into a more sacred area for people to be able to enjoy their lives in it. And yeah, it definitely works for businesses as well. And like I said, I mean, I've heard it so many times. People will move to a new house. They're like, I cannot stop fighting with my husband. Like we never fought. And all of a sudden we just were like, and I'm like, well, it's probably the energy. And you go in and, you're like, yeah, the energy is really bad in here, and you have to clear it all out and kind of, get rid of it so that it doesn't affect their daily lives.
Now,
so I did that recently. Yeah.
Can any space be fixed, cleansed?
I mean, I wouldn't say fixed completely because it really depends. I mean, if it's like a graveyard and there's multiple, I don't know. I've never had to deal with a situation like that, so I can't answer you on something like that. But can negative energy be cleared, like out of a space? Yes, for sure. You can clear negative energy, depending maybe on the intensity. So yeah.
By the way, I had to Google it. It's Brittany Murphy. Google it later. It's a People magazine article. And it even says both Britney Spears and Murphy reported that they thought there was something strange about the home, which is located on Rising Glen Road atop the Sunset Strip when they each lived there. Spears, who was dating Timberlake at the time, apparently claimed to have an unworldly encounter, and she never wanted to come back. She wanted to stay in the finest hotels. And they're like, you have this beautiful house. Read it later. We'll talk about it next week. Oh my God, I got goosebumps on this. Okay. So do you want to talk about some experiences that you had clearing spaces, homes, and businesses? Could you share some of the positive?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, around a week ago, I was called by somebody, and they said, we really need to clear our space because things are just not going well. My daughter fell down the stairs. We're arguing all the time. Our business is suffering. We're just going through all of this, And so I went over and I mean, the energy was miserable. I mean, you kind of walk in and it kind of hits you. I said, we really need to cleanse this space a little bit. So I worked on it for many, many hours, clearing out the
Now, does everybody leave the house? Do you need to be alone?
Preferably,
is there certain things that have to happen? Okay.
Preferably, yes, because there'll be a lot of Reiki going on, a lot of maybe even shouting and clearing and getting rid of energy, and it's very interesting. And I think that I managed to clear the space successfully. They felt a shift. Shift, which is awesome. So yeah, it works. And I frequently even do that to, like, when I go to people's houses, even if I'm just a guest there and I feel very uncomfortable. I'm like, what is this space? Like, what's going on in here? And I start clearing there.
Why can't you just come and enjoy yourself? We invite you as a guest. We don't want you to work, but you're like, I have to do this.
No, and then people will tell me, wow, after you left, like, our house feels so light. Like, it was really nice being with you. You felt like things feel so good in the house. I'm like, really? Oh, that's so interesting.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. So by the way, they did find your notes. Let's continue to the next topic, if that's okay. Is there anything else you want to add about the energy clearing in space?
I think that's, it's fairly self-explanatory. I mean, it's just basically replacing negative energy with positive energy. So
perfect.
It's always a good thing. That's always a good thing.
Perfect. And I apologize, but Ashley, just sent it over.
No worries at all. Yeah.
Okay. As it's loading, please, let's go to the next topic. Would you mind sharing? Thank you.
Sure. So after this, I wanted to talk a little bit about Reiki and intuitive healing.
So, got it. Thank you.
Yes. So because people will come and they'll be like, okay, I'm suffering. I have chronic headaches, right? Or my knees hurt me so badly. And then once I put my hands on them, I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't feel it's your head that needs the healing. I feel, for example, that it's your back or your liver or your heart or something. So it's just, I'm guided kind of to what it is that they need, right? So then they kind of get mad at me. They're like, no, but it's our head that hurts. I'm like, I know, but go with me, because it's not me. It's the Reiki that's telling me what to do, right? So just bear with me. Let me do what I feel I need to do, and let's see if it sorts out your problem. And it does, because it's not actually their head that's the source of the issue. It would be something else. So, once I had somebody who was like, my hips are killing me. I don't know, do I need a hip replacement? They weren't that old. I said, I highly doubt it. I said, it's probably a reflected pain from somewhere else. So I just kind of ask the Reiki, please, you go where you need to go. You do what you need to do. I'm just the vessel. And let's see where this takes us. So I was told to put my hands on the knees, and I was on the knees for like forever. And then that was it. They're like, the hip pain is gone. And it was gone permanently. Like, it didn't come back. And it was so weird. There was some correlation. So, I mean, like, I'm not a doctor, and there's lots of things that happen that I can't really tell you why it happens, or, exactly like, the details. But that's what I mean when I say intuitive, that Reiki actually almost has a mind of its own. So when I'm sending distance healing, even, like, people will call me or message me, and they'll be like, we want to hire you because we want you to send distance healing to a certain person, a loved one, this, that, and the other. They're like, do you want their details? And I'm like, no, I don't even need to know their name. I don't. I'm like, don't even, you don't have to give me their name. You don't have to give me details. Don't share your personal stuff with me. I'm totally fine.
So what is it based off of? They said they want to heal and help someone. You just can feel what they're thinking and who they're thinking of. Well,
as soon as I have them on the line, I'm like, that's it. The energy's connected. I'm like, I know where the energy needs to go. So don't worry about it. And a lot of people feel grateful about that, because you know how sometimes if you're in a situation, you kind of feel shy about sharing details. Like, okay, like maybe, your husband's abusive, or, or this or that, and you're kind of shy about it. So you don't want to get into details. You don't want to give names. You don't want to name certain things.
Wow.
But you still want the healing to get that. So a lot of times I'll sense that, and I'll be like, you know what, you don't even have to tell me the name or the relationship to you. I just know it's a loved one of X, Y, Z. That's fine. I will send the Reiki. The Reiki will find its way to where it needs to go, and things will get better. And it always works. It always works. So it's not even a case of you need to tell me your life story. You don't. Nobody needs to tell me their life story. They just need to tell me that I need healing in a certain moment, for a certain situation, for a certain person. And I'll be like, okay, great. It's being sent out, and, I'm sure it will reach you, and hopefully it will do what it needs to do. So that's why when I talk about intuitive Reiki, this is what I'm trying to talk about. Yep. So it's not really me pushing the Reiki or guiding it to do something. It's kind of doing it on its own. Yeah.
All right. Intuitive wise, do you feel any energy or Reiki that I need anywhere? Am I putting you on the spot, or it doesn't work that way?
I mean, no, not at all, actually, because I wanted to ask you this question, because you asked me a couple of weeks ago to send you some Reiki. Mm-hmm. So I took that as consent, and I've been sending you Reiki constantly. So I wanted to ask if you've been feeling it at all, or if you felt a difference.
My big problem is, which I don't care discussing, but I have serious IBS issues, my stomach. I've been to doctors. They can't figure it out. Every time I eat or don't eat, I bloat. I get gassy. I look like I'm 9 months pregnant. It's horrible. And for someone who's been working half my life now in like television, you can't have a big stomach. It looks bad, let alone it's embarrassing. It feels bad. It's just, long story short. So my stomach has been feeling better. And I don't know what it is. Like, I had peanut butter today, right? Because I need protein, and I don't want to eat big chunks of anything because then my stomach hurts. Depends what I have to do for work. And for the first time, I felt my stomach gurgle, and I'm like, what's going on? Is it going to bloat? But my bloating has not been as bad. I don't know if that's
Well, that's good.
I don't know if you
just
felt it going there, but there's something wrong with my gut and no one's been able to figure it out. And so I'm hoping silently that maybe it's helping. I don't know because we don't really talk. And
it might be. And actually, I spoke last week, if you remember, about how every time before I come onto the podcast,
you do your Reiki because you're nervous. Really?
Yeah, because I get like this gut wrenching,
your
feeling
nerves in your belly.
Stomach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I know how horrible that feels. So, I mean, I have been sending it to you. So if it has helped in any way, I'm very grateful. And if you want me to, I can continue to send it, especially to your specific issue. And you will let me know. Let me know
I
how
would
you're
appreciate
feeling.
it. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's all about the belly. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
So she's intuitive. We know this. But now I also have children, 4 and 6. Mm-hmm. Do you work with children and Reiki as well?
Okay, so I do work with children, definitely. I will give children Reiki, Reiki healing. I will give children Reiki healing. They love it. And I also find that it's great for parents. It's kind of like a bonding experience. I have teens who don't want to talk to me and think I'm so uncool. Anyway.
Really?
So it's kind of cool because they come to the house, they disappear into their rooms. I don't see them. But when they have an ache or a pain, they will come to me and they'll be like, Mom, can you please give us Reiki? Because our foot hurts or our knee hurts. And then it's amazing because it's a chance to bond finally. We sit down.
And you've been doing Reiki with them and on them since they were little?
Since they were little, yeah. Okay. And they're actually technically what you would call Reiki babies because I was doing Reiki constantly while I was pregnant with them. So they were kind of experiencing Reiki, I would say, in the womb from the time that,
do they also, you said they're intuitive?
No, they're not. It's not that they do Reiki or anything, but they call them like Reiki babies because a Reiki mother carried them.
Is it a boy, girl? I don't know. Is it, what do you have?
I have 2 girls.
Okay.
2 girls.
Do any of them tell you that they kind of can sense things too, like you, like pick up on energy, or?
Sometimes, but I try to not push them in any direction. I kind of, listen to what they have to say and I'm like, that's great. And I'm like, if you grow into it and if you really want to explore that, then that's great. One of them more so than the other, I feel. So yeah, I mean, it's really nice when you can share that with your kids. It's kind of a bonding experience and you get the chance to, sit them down for 5 minutes and talk to them, when they're, especially when they get older. I mean, having said that, I was reading an article the other day about a Reiki practitioner who decided to give actual Reiki, not the healing, the Reiki initiation to her 7-year-old and 5-year-old and 2-year-old. I mean, that's fine. And I'm sure that she did it with the best of intentions, but I don't know. I mean, children that young, I don't think they would really know what to do with the Reiki. So to me, that doesn't seem like the natural course of action. It's not something I would do, to be honest. Because, I would rather that the person grows up, has consent, knows what they're doing, what they're getting into, right? As opposed to giving it to them when they're 7 or 5 or 2.
Yeah, mine are 4 and 6. And sometimes they're not nice. Does Reiki make people nice?
Well, kids, we all think kids are so adorable and amazing, and they are in their own way, but kids are mean too. I mean, they're sometimes mean to us and mean to each other. And I think that's all part of growing up. You kind of have to teach them how to be a little bit nicer, so. What about
Reiki for babies?
Well, yeah, Reiki's great for babies. So, lots of babies who are born premature, have some health issues. They seek Reiki treatment if the mom is aware that Reiki is available, and you can very safely give babies Reiki, and they'll thrive and do really, really well. Especially the ones in the neonatal units. Sorry, yeah, you were saying.
Do you have? I mean, you use Reiki even on yourself. You mentioned food. You mentioned water. So Reiki can really be used everywhere and anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an area of expertise that you just love? Is it love? You have love working with animals? Do you love working with the adults? Do you love working with? Is there house blessings? Like which one? Do you have a preference of what's best?
I would say one of my favorites is definitely animals, just because I'm such an animal lover. I love animals. They're so cute. They're just so cute. I love them. And it's amazing because they just look at you with all this love and adoration in their eyes, and they can sense the energy. They're so intuitive. They can sense it, and they know that you're trying to help them. And it's so cute. I know from my own pets, they're so adorable when I give them Reiki. And they'll try to lick my hands, and they'll try to, get as close to me as possible because they want to, they just sense the good energy. That's one of my favorites, I would definitely say, definitely. House blessings are fun too, really fun. Especially if it's like, newlyweds will call me and they'll be like, we're moving into a new space. We want it to, we want things to go well. And that's wonderful. I'm like, you know what? Good for you. I'm glad that you're, you want to start out on the right track and, bless your space and, start your marriage off well. And I'll go and do that. And it's always nice to, to leave a place knowing that people are more comfortable in whatever situation they're in. So they're more comfortable in their home. They're more comfortable in their environment. They're going to thrive. Things are going to go better for them.
What about Reiki for people suffering with fertility issues, conception? Is it
yeah.
I mean, not that you can guarantee anything, but just
no, you can't guarantee anything, but you can definitely send the Reiki to support them during the process. So I had a lady who messaged me, this was probably around 2 months ago. She was going to have surgery because she had some kind of liquid in her fallopian tubes or something. Okay. So I did a lot of work. For her, kind of imagining the like the liquid leaving, and she had the surgery. I haven't spoken to her a lot, but I think it went well, and I don't think that the liquid is there anymore. So, so that's really good. So it can help in ways like that. You can definitely, but it's all, like I've said this so many times, it all comes down again to free will. It's people and what they want, right? Yeah. So if somebody comes to me and they're like, you know what, I don't like the relationship I'm in. I wish I was out. I wish, I could move on. So you try to help them by giving them Reiki, by, helping them through whatever. But a lot of times I can tell they don't want to be out of this relationship. They're just coming and doing the lip service, and they're just, they want the support, but they kind of like the place they're in. It's very hard to explain. So in these kind of situations, you kind of figure it out. You're like, okay. I mean, I'm going to support them. I'm going to help them, but I don't feel that they really want what they're asking for. So then you have to kind of figure out what it is that they actually
really want. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And Tima, in closing today, what else do you want to share before we go?
Well, it's almost Thanksgiving for you guys. Yes, I guess tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Yay.
Got to be grateful. Got to be thankful. And yours was when? Yes. How many weeks ago?
It was early October. Yeah. It was. So for us, it's like ancient history. Well, so with Thanksgiving coming, just please be grateful for everything you have in your life. Life is a blessing. Life is beautiful. Sometimes it seems really difficult, but please, be very, very grateful for everything you have and your family and everything. Yeah.
All right. And Tima, how do we contact you?
It's my website. So timadajani.com. All the contact information is there, and love to connect with people.
Perfect. So and that's timadajani.com. Have a great day. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Many blessings to you. Have a great day. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.